entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for elevating your business. Welcome to Getting the Edge with Kelly Wilson. And here's your host, Kelly Wilson.
Welcome to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's great to be back in the studio. We after a nice, much needed break, and it's great to be back and personable and in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, welcome to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Edge is brought to you by Edge Media Hub. Edge is built, originally incorporated in 2013. Edge is built of Edge Media, Edge Publishing, Edge Creative, and most importantly, Edge Community. And we're so excited Getting the Edge now being in our 7th year. It's just a great opportunity to bring together like-minded individuals, community leaders that are filled with passion and really a story to share. And it's not just about successes, it's also about their trials and tribulations and their failures and their tips and strategies that they've learned along the way. So it brings me so much joy to be here with you for the past 7 years and share the stories. It's not fair for me to be the only one that gets to take in all this valuable information. It was really important to be able to share that. So again, so excited to be able to do that with you today. For more information on Edge, check out edgemediahub.com. You can email us at info@edgemediahub.com or you can call 813-448-2874. Definitely check out the site. We have so much stuff going on, and I'm going to talk through that with one of my favorite women and guests we'll introduce in just a second. I'd love to say a big thank you to our Getting the Edge sponsors. Thank you so much to Urban E-Recycling. Their no charge data destruction hard drive. No charge for pickup. They come and they for delivery. Check them out, urbanerecycling.com. Thank you so much. Thank you to WeBeam TV. Also, All Trust Insurance, Pilot Bank, Visit Tampa Bay, and USF Luma College of Business. Edge Media would not be here today with all of your support. So so grateful and so thrilled that we have one of our Edge Platinum partners with us today, the phenomenal trailblazer, Rita Lowman, President of Pilot Bank. Hi, Rita.
Thank you. Hi, I'm glad to be here, Kelly. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and you are just such an inspiration to talk and to sit with, and so every time I have an opportunity to get some of your time, it means a lot to me.
Well, it means a lot to me to be with you too, because you do so much for the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Your support, not just with Edge, and I'm so grateful, is just so you're so deep into the community and touching so many lives. And it's amazing to kind of watch that as well and admire you. And I hope that I do the same as I progress in my career. So
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy February. We are right before Super Bowl. We pre-film, so it will air just after that. But how excited are you? You're a big football fan.
Oh, we are. Yeah, we're very pleased, very excited. It's doing a good impact for the community, which is really a positive. And we also had a great impact with the Outback Bowl. Now, with Outback Bowl, we had about 13,000 in the stands, but still it brought 2 great teams in. So those types of things are really good for our community, and most importantly, they're good for people to see what Tampa Bay is about, because we're going to be on an international, really platform this weekend.
Right, definitely global exposure for us, for sure. I was driving into the studio this morning, which still loving our new studio. It's amazing.
It's beautiful.
And again, it's great to be in the studio after being virtual for quite a while, and I'll kind of touch on some of that. But as driving in, I'm going through the Platt Street Bridge, the underpass under the convention center, and all the lights, on the side, and even up top. I'm just looking around. It's beautiful.
Oh,
and of course, in anticipation of Super Bowl weekend. But the hard-working people of Tampa Bay have been working on this for years.
They have.
As all the construction started at Channel Side, and so
I think
been a long time coming.
It has. I think about a year ago when we were at Raymond James Stadium and we were doing the kickoff with everyone for Super Bowl year. And when it was announced, you know, because 55 being so important to the Bucs, that number. And I think that's just awesome that not only are they here, they have the number 55, which of course is one of their premier former players who's now Hall of Famer,
and who is that?
It's
I
Derek
don't
Brooks.
know. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Great humanitarian.
Absolutely.
In our community for sure.
Absolutely. So it all just kind of brings itself back together, and it really came full circle this year.
Yeah, it is really exciting. You know, I guess, and I'm not going to talk like I know a lot about football, but I mean, we have to know who Tom Brady is and the impact that he's made on Tampa Bay. And I think, you know, at a time where we needed that boost of joy, it definitely seemed to arouse, you know, our community and get them excited and give them something to look forward to, I think.
Absolutely.
As we break from the reality of so much of what's going on.
And you know what's interesting is they give so much back to the community that people don't necessarily realize, and I love that. Brian Ford is amazing. He's a past chair for the CEOs Against Cancer, and there's many things that we just never talk about that they do, like the glasses that they do for the students and different things. They're actually supporting me. I'm the chair of the American Heart Association's Go Red this year, and they are a supporter of that too. So much that they do for our community, and I'm very thankful.
Yeah, and I imagine with the excitement, depending on how the Super Bowl plays out, perhaps they'll do even more.
Exactly.
It'll initiate even more excitement.
Right.
So yeah, it is an exciting time in Tampa Bay this week, and you know, hopefully as we start to, you know, I guess I always say every day we're a little step closer to some type of normalcy, right?
Yes.
So hopefully the worst is past, and I think we've all learned so much. You know, from everything that we've gone through. What have you seen have been some of the biggest positives that have come from this awkward year?
Absolutely, and it has been an awkward year, absolutely. But you know what's interesting is I think we knew technology, but for banking that really became important for us. We actually closed our back rooms for about 4 months. Our banking centers were still open for the drive-through or clients that made appointments, but we learned that technology was what it was all about, and we could do anything from any place. And talk about business continuity for all the companies throughout the United States. They all of a sudden had to say, let me go to my business continuity plan, and you know what? We saw that it worked. Everyone really, they were able to get the hiccups out of it and make it something that was sustainable, and it'll take us forward. So I was pleased with that. The other piece is that our families are very multitask and multi-talented. Many of our associates were actually homeschooling during that period of time, and so they were balancing out work and
so
homeschooling.
Happy my children are older. I can't even imagine.
I am too.
Yes. Again, a very awkward, just a unique year. Who would have thought, you know, you'd have, you know, all these families and different people working from home and juggling kids, you know, schooling at home, and I cannot even imagine. My son, you know, is older, and you know, I have 2 grandchildren now, so an 8 and a 4-year-old. So I get to see it from from the best side of it, right? The Graham's side of it, but it's interesting. And just to kind of mention, and before touch on before I forget, you know, you mentioned as far as the Outback Bowl being 15,000 being able to seat, and that's at the stadium, which is a 60,000 capacity. So that just shows you the economic impact that, or the lack that we were able to produce. And then same with Super Bowl. So we are able to get, you know, to have something, but it is significant.
Well, it is significant. It was still a great event, and I want to share with Outback Bowl, one of the things that we do every year is we are able to give $500,000 back into our community through to organizations that are in need or that we support. And that's so important. We're going to be able to do that even again this year, even though the economic impact for Outback was not quite as great for the Outback Bowl as it has been in the past. It was still really significant, and so you'll be seeing those checks going out in March, and we're excited about that.
Congratulations. That's awesome. It is a really it's a phenomenal organization. When we were talking about, I was just thinking about giving back in regards to the Outback Bowl. I can't remember now what I was going to say. That's going to make me crazy. No, it's nonprofits. That's what it is. I think I'm going to always do that. It just doesn't matter. Nonprofits, it's interesting how they've been able to transition this year.
Right.
Going from galas and the different different things that they've been able to, and now it's all digital. They're bringing in virtual, and they're raising money. And from some of the, the feedback that I've heard, they didn't have the overhead, from some of the expenses. Again, the personability factor's not there, because you're not in person, but it seems to be, there's something to that. It'll be interesting to see how they incorporate the virtual side of things. Maybe everything's live streamed.
You're right. Well, we did cattle barons this year for American Cancer Society, actually last year. I'm already going into, and that was virtual. It was extremely successful. Okay. The auction was virtual also. We did several of the Tampa Bay Chamber events were both. They were in person, where a certain number of people, for instance, like their annual event, and then the other part was virtual. And then on February the 26th, when we do the Go Red Luncheon, it will be virtual. We will have some of it live, some of it's been pre-taped. So, you're finding those ways that still have an impact and bring in the dollars to help the people that truly need it. And that's what I look at. What's that passion, and what do you truly need, and how are we going to make it work?
It's amazing. It's amazing to see everyone giving so much, even though they're experiencing their own problems. And many know that my son lost his home right after Christmas in an apartment fire due to a neighbor underneath grilling on a wood balcony. But the community that came out, and granted, my son works for 911 for the Hillsborough County Dispatch or Fire and Rescue. My goodness, it was just, again, it's Christmas time. It was a tough holiday for many, and just to see everyone come out and give, and it really kind of awakened me some. I try to do what I can, via communication or promotion for many of the nonprofits, and because most of the time we are all on such a strict budget of things, of being a sole proprietor and single mother all these years. I haven't had just liquid, assets to, but 10 or 15, it doesn't matter. Any amount helps, and I saw that, and that was a big, wow. It touched my heart, and it reminded me that we can all do, even if just a little.
Exactly. Your son's story was just so touching to all of us, because we have children, we understand that, and we were maybe not knowing your son, but we knew you, and supporting that was really important. Yeah,
it's amazing, and it just even strangers that came out, and I tell you what, like some that I will probably stay in touch with now forever, and just. One particular woman that came out from Clearwater that was going through chemotherapy, an older woman, and just it meant so much for her to come from Clearwater to Land O'Lakes to drop off these clothes and dolls, and it. Wow, yeah,
it means
just,
a lot.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It really does.
Well, we have such a giving community, and you and I've talked about that before. Whatever you're passionate about, that's take up that cause and really make a difference in it. And it doesn't have to be money. It can be your time, and that's one of the things we talk to our team about. Is you tell us what you're passionate about. And we just painted basketball courts recently, and that was not dollars, that was our team getting out and doing that for the community. So there's so many different ways to be able to help.
And you inspire that around all of your team and community. I think everyone that has an opportunity to be touched by you in a sense, feels that and wants to pay it forward. It's you have, and I hope many more leaders over time kind of adapt to that, but you believe in passions, and people excel when they're tapped into what ignites their soul, so to speak. So, but you really help nurture that and encourage.
Well, I appreciate that. One of the things I always think about is that emerging leaders are very focused on their career, and I understand that. That's why I really try to wrap my arms around emerging leaders, that it's more than your career. Giving back to the community, people are going to know who you are, and when they need something, they're going to call on that person. I can be walking into the Center Club, and all of a sudden somebody will say, Rita, I need you. And may not have asked them or seen them for some time, but when they do need you, your name comes to the forefront. And that's what I want our emerging leaders to do, because not only do I want them to build their career, but I want them to build our community to be a better place to live in.
Well, and I think just as we progress through our lives, we get there when we get there,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
exactly.
we don't always have the clarity that we're going to have after we go through so many years of experience, but it is great to kind of learn as we go, but also to have these people that are in our lives, mentors that can kind of enlighten us, you know, on what's going to be important,
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
as we build our careers and age, and I always think, someone asked me once, what did I want my grandchildren's children to think of me, or to say about me, you know, and that stumped me, and I thought, okay, you know, that really gets you thinking.
Exactly.
So okay, well, and then it's interesting as you reflect then on maybe what your end game strategies are, or the legacy that you want to leave behind. You can start working towards that.
Absolutely.
You know, so identifying passions earlier on
Right.
I would think you can be more effective because you can get more done, you know, and over a longer period of time.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things is, you know, Kelly, my life actually changed last year.
Yes.
And February the 26th happens to be the day of the Go Red, but it's also the 1-year celebration of my son going to heaven. And so my life really changed, and I looked at the fact that what's the most important thing, and I've always shared this, and it was in my book, but it really came to heart, is that my faith and family are the most important for me. And I want to be able to enjoy the times that I have with the friends, the family, people around me, and what kind of impact can I have on them that would make a difference. And so, you know, it's so funny, one of the biggest times in my life was, I don't know why, but 40 just was this year when I turned 40 many years ago. It was like, oh my goodness, I'm now a real adult. And
right.
So, well, what is that going to look and feel like, and what do I want to do? And that's when I really started saying, okay, how can I give back? I had been doing it. I had been the president of the PTA and things like that, but what was really in my heart that I wanted to do? And of course, American Cancer has always been a strong passion of mine, but then I decided I wanted to give back to our industry. And so the Florida Bankers, and now of course the American Bankers Association, are very important to me to make sure that our industry stays very strong.
And you're very active in doing that. And faith and family, I think sometimes we get lost in the hustle of things. And it's interesting as you read different autobiographies or reflections on what people are thinking towards the end of something. And you and I were talking about Steve Jobs the other day. And it's just interesting to think so many sacrifices that people make, and then as you get closer, or we never know how much time we have.
Absolutely
obviously,
not,
so it can happen sooner rather than later. But at the end of the day, are we ready to go? Did we do everything we wanted to do? And I think faith and family, and I think you don't want to have regrets later.
No, you don't. In '83, when we had our head-on collision, and I had to learn to walk again that year, it made me realize then too that how close our family was. And we were 4 people. Now, of course, we had.
And you were all 4 in the car.
We were all
correct?
4 in the car together. Yes. And then, of course, I have no brothers and sisters, but I do have. I had 2 sets of parents that were still alive at that time. And so our family was small, and it was really important for all of us to work together for that health. And as I shared with you in the past, I have 70% usage of my right side, but I never let that stop me, because I want to be able to have other people say, wow, I can do this.
Yeah.
And that's really inspirational to me. In my life, it's not about the material things, it's about what can I give from my heart. And again, what am I passionate about? And young people are one of the passions. I'm not as fortunate as you with grandchildren, even though I have adopted a lot of children over the years, because of some of my friends who have had children, or some of the people that have worked with me have had children. But I do love having that opportunity to see young people do so well.
And it is, I think, too, after we overcome certain obstacles that we face in our lives, we want to see others overcome the same challenges. And obviously I think that learning curve is important, as we go through things, but if we can help cushion the blows, even just a little, I don't think that people, I don't think we realize, you know, how much we impact. Because even the slightest things that we can say or do, you know, I always battle with that, because I feel like I'm having gone through what I've gone through to be here, and as a single mom, and I think, you know, you're almost humble in a sense, because I'm thankful, and as January hit, we just kind of curved that decade mark of my kind of commitment to this journey of self-discovery. In real estate, it was lucrative. I did really well, but I always felt I was off path somewhere. So the real estate crash and just different things that led up to that gave me that opportunity then to explore. But this last January, it just turned, you know, I just passed a decade, and it is an exhilarating feeling knowing that you've overcome, you know, and but we do impact, and I get messages often, and it touches your heart to know that you might have inspired someone, and that's what my life's mission is set out to do at this point.
Well, you know, it's really funny because you and I both enjoy quotes.
Yes.
And, you know, we both put them out, and I love your quotes, and I just like that because, you know, that kind of gives me a path. When I read something, I say, you know, that is my passion, and that's me. I want to do that. And it's really interesting. My oldest son is getting ready to go to Senegal. He's with our State Department. And so he said, Mom, one of the things I always look at are your quotes. He said, because again, I want to have a great journey and make an impact on the people that work with me. And in his last assignment in Brazil, he had 80 people on his team, and this one he'll be a Senegal or.
No, and explain that to me. What is he doing there?
Okay, so he's with our State Department, which means he can be doing anything from helping through adoptions to someone in your family having an issue in that country to visas. There's just a number of different things that he does. But bottom line is that he's going to have quite a few people that'll be working on his team now, and to be able to see and hear what they say about your child.
Right. Yeah.
That means so much. Yeah. It really does.
And to see them, you know, just kind of blossom in their own right, and hope that you can take some credit for it. I do that with my daughter all the time. She'll say something, and she says something about being just a strong woman, and I said, you know, I get some credit for that, right? Like that you get from me, obviously, but she didn't want to give me credit for it. You know, it's interesting, and I'm like, okay, fine, you know, keep it. But we joke about it, but it's great to see, you know.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care what they say. You know, parents, the moms, dads, they make a difference in their children's lives. And you know, I think about my dad. My dad was extremely strict. My parents were divorced, but they still, you know, were friends and everything. All four of the parents were, but he was very strict. My mom wasn't at all, and so I had, you know, really interesting balance there.
Right.
And so you
made it easier as a child, I'm sure.
Well, it did, and so you know, you would. If mom didn't or dad didn't do it, you could, you know, ride your bike 5 blocks away and go to mom and say, okay, what about mom?
So even they weren't together then?
No, both of my parents were divorced.
Oh, I see.
And they both had remarried when I was 5 years old, but they only lived about 5 blocks from each other. So
oh, wow.
I could just hop on my bike and go back and forth. And now I, you know, lived with my mother during the week, my dad on the weekend. Again, being an only child, they both for some reason wanted me.
Oh, and that was one of the biggest challenges that we talked about. So thankful for your contributions to the Edge Business Magazine, and obviously in even getting the Edge, and all of your touch points where you inspire us all. Really thrilled. Obviously 2020 was a unique year. We had our New Year not-for-profit issue with all of the phenomenal or many phenomenal not-for-profit leaders, and that was great. Thankfully we were able to have that event in February, actually right before everything shut down at that point. So we weren't able to do our spring issue because we usually do 3 big issues and 3 big launches, but it was really important to do the tribute issue. For me, it was an opportunity to highlight you know, small business owners that most of the time we have larger level CEOs and those with more of a story that they can share, although we can learn something obviously from everybody. But it was just a great opportunity to highlight, and you know, and it means so much to me because so many of these people have touched my life, you know, over the last decade. But so Rita, you'll have to check it out. Go to edgemediahub.com. Actually, you can click on and read the digital article there. All of Rita's former articles are there as well. I love our new Edge Media Resource Library.
Yeah, I do too.
All of it's online, so you can check out all the articles. You can also subscribe to get the custom printed copy delivered directly to your home or office. So I asked you for this last article to go deep and just asked if you would touch on, you know, just more of, I guess, something we don't really talk about, because as leaders, you want to show power and authority in a sense, although we do want to show some vulnerability. But you know, as a leader, it's very difficult to lead when our inner hearts are broken and we're dealing with our own, you know, tragedies, you know, that are going on. You know, you mentioned even in '83 and what happened there, and so Rita's article was challenges in life. Do they make you stronger? So she pointed out the four biggest challenges. So the one being when your parents got divorced, or were divorced, and so having to decide between which, and that is, and it's interesting. My daughter and I were talking, and she's a psychology major, and we were just talking about issues, and you know, we were kind of talking about the fact that sometimes if somebody has a problem with you, or not really anything to do with you, it's much to do with what's going on with that person.
Exactly.
And so you know, we were just talking about those different attributes, and it's interesting how. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about the second challenge. We'll just go to that.
Okay, well, so the first one, because I don't know which order I put them in.
Okay, well, marrying.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
So my high school sweetheart was my husband. We've been married for 49 years. But what's so interesting is you go from your home into a situation of being married. You know, you're both working. We were going to college. I was taking morning classes and 2 classes at night, 2 nights a week, but every morning we were both doing the same thing. Plus we were working full time. And you know, we were trying to, first of all, it was so funny because he's going to kill me for saying this, but back then our apartment that we were going into was $82.50 a month, and my mother said, "Oh, that's so much. There's just no way." And we said, "Oh, yes, there is. We're going to make this work."
$82.50.
Oh no, yeah, and
wow.
So that was in '71, and we did. We made it work, and we ended up growing. But you know what we did is he was an executive with Kraft Foods. I was a bank executive growing up, you know, in the banking industry. He was with the same company for 35 years, and we made each other stronger. And that's so important. I always feel like, you know, your partner needs to raise you up, and you need to raise that partner up. So we were very fortunate.
And that would be, I would think, difficult or very challenging as you're young, because you're going to grow together. I had such a good thought before. I'm going to come back to it, and I'm going to pull those pieces back together. But it's interesting. 49 years. You're a child at that point, and it's just interesting how so often people grow apart. Obviously, I think communication is probably key, but growing together. And
exactly. Well, I always kid about the fact that for 7 years he lived in Chicago and I lived wherever, and so we always kid about the fact those 7 years probably really helped out, and because every weekend, you know, he would come home, the kids were there, we would be doing something fun. But again, my children were transferred to 8 different schools during the first 8 years of their life because I worked all the time. I was with NCNB, Nations Bank, Bank of America, and was transferred quite a bit. Gary was transferred, very seldom were we together, and so therefore they moved too. But I really think it did help them grow and be able to communicate, and I think it really gave my oldest son that whim for travel. He loves being with the State Department because he's able to do that. And what was really interesting is both of my children, probably about 10 years ago, were in China at the same time. And one was living in China, in Shanghai, and the other one was in northern China living with the monks. And so it was just a really... Living
with the monks.
Yes, absolutely.
What an amazing experience.
Right. And so it was just really interesting to have both of your kids in China at the same time.
Yeah. And for totally different reasons,
exactly,
right? And
exactly.
It was just meant to be.
Right.
The third challenge you talk about is your major career shift when you went from from a larger bank, then transitioning to the community. What were some of the biggest takeaways?
Right. Well, and I really had a great foundation within CNB Nations Bank, and I will always say that. I loved it. But then all of a sudden, when I was able to go into community banks, we really make a difference in the community, and we make our decisions. The decisions are not coming from Charlotte, Atlanta, or someplace else. All of a sudden, you're the executive of that bank, and you are the one that's really making a difference in what it looks and feels like. So I love that opportunity. I love being able to go into banks, help them strengthen, be able to be like we do right now. We are in the business of community, and you're building relationships, Kelly. What's so important is you can call me, and we did a radio show this past weekend, and I put out on the show my email, and I had people say, why are you giving your email? If you need me, I'm here.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, is being able to create the relationships. And if you have a problem, or if you have a challenge, or if you just need something, know that we're here for you.
And that's just extremely strong and outstanding leadership, you know, on your behalf. And again, it goes back to you know, tying that in with passions,
right.
and then you being there, and at any time.
Well, we try, and my cell phone number is on my business card.
Yeah.
And
yes. Actually, I think when we first started talking a few years ago, it was you know, you were just so casual, like with your, you know, with your phone, and you know, and well, just text me, and I thought, okay, you know, Rita wants me to text her, okay.
Yeah. If you text me, I'm going to answer you back. And I share that with my associates. I said, you know, I might not be right there by my computer, but I'm going to always have my phone. So I will, if you need me immediately, just text me. And my friends do that all the time, because they'll say, well, today one of my friends who also is a client, he said, I need to talk to you right away. And of course, within 5 minutes, I'm calling back. Right. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, it carries over. And how many years has it been now?
44.
44.
Yeah, I've been in banking for a little over 44 years. Gary and I will celebrate our 50th anniversary on June the 11th.
50th?
Yes.
So that's like a very special.
It is.
It's remarkable.
It's you know,
wow.
we're really very blessed to be able to have been together that long and really still enjoy each other as company. You know, we always kid about the fact that one day when I retire, and he's already retired, he really is going to have to stay at the farm a lot more.
Yeah, and it really must take a lot of compromise and I guess and communication just to. That's a long time.
Well, it takes two partners who respect each other and who listen, and I think that's so important, is that you have to have mutual respect. And you know, if there's an issue, you need to talk through that. A lot of times, because I was pretty lenient on the boys, and he was stricter.
So he was your mom?
Yeah. No, he was my dad. My mom was lenient on me.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But the interesting part is that it was the right thing. You know, you do need to have that balance. But there were times that we really needed to make those decisions together. And that's what we've always done, even in the businesses that we personally own.
Right, yeah. It's great advice. And then, you know, the fourth challenge was what you just spoke of recently, and overcoming. And, you know, I just can only imagine, you know, what advice do you have for others that are facing tragedy and still needing to be strong and lead?
Yes.
And lead.
Well, the thing is, and I believe that some of my associates will share this with you, I probably have not given myself enough time to really take it all in, because I try to keep myself so busy and occupied.
As soon as you stop and let your mind go there, it's very painful.
And so there are times that you'll see that I might put something out on Facebook because of the fact that I need that release. You know, I can still visualize Clint just running down the stairs at the house, or you know, things that we used to do. Yes. But one of the things that I've really learned is that you still talk about Clint and everything that he's done, or do you remember this, or whatever. And you have to keep him in your total life.
They're still, I mean, they're still here. You know, it's not.
Does not go away. He is your child.
There's a
he
beautiful
will always be your
song. I love music. Music is that's my thing, always. And there's a song called Glitter, and I don't remember who sings it. It's newer out, but it's Glitter, and it talks about how grief is like little pieces of glitter that you really just can't brush off. It's always there, but it also talks about, you know, the lyrics are beautiful. You know, those that you really love, those that have touched us are never, even though they're gone, they're not. They're still. And anyway, it's a beautiful song, Glitter.
And we'll kid around, like we were at the farm a couple of weeks ago, and it's always at the farm that we see these beautiful cardinals. And so we'll share, oh, there's Grandma and Clint talking about us, you know, or whatever, because, you know, cardinals are a representative of, you know, someone that you love being in heaven. And so I love it when I see a cardinal, because I always say, oh, there's Clint.
Oh, I can imagine, in all forms of ways that they try to reach out and touch us in the ways that they can. So I've been reading so much, trying to, you know, explore just different sides of that. It's interesting. I don't know enough to talk about anything.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Well, I think that, you know, the one thing that it's brought really to my mind and and I really work on too is mental health and addiction are really passionate for me now. I wrote part of a chapter in someone's book, Ian Adair, who did Stronger Than Stigma, the book. And about 12 executives like myself wrote a chapter for the book about their experience. And although Clint did not die from addiction, he had a problem, and now he was working with the community down in the Southeast in the Miami, Palm Beach area, helping others, and had made such a difference. And Kelly, one of the biggest things that meant so much to me were all the letters, texts, and emails that people sent to me saying, you know, your son really has made a difference. A woman from Orlando that was 42, she reached out and she said, 2 years ago, I walk into his center, and all of a sudden, this big athletic guy comes out, and she says, "What is he going to do for me?" And she said, he hugs her and says, "We're going to get through this together." Oh, and she said, all of a sudden, that big hug.
That's Rita Lowman's son.
Well, yeah, that big teddy bear. She said, and about a year into it, I was having some issues. I called him. She said he immediately helped walk me through it. So to hear those stories, I know that he really helped others, even though he had his problems also, and I love that. But what ended up happening is your organs will really have problems sometimes, and so his heart failed on him because of the problems that he'd had earlier in his life. So look at the signs and make sure that you're helping your family and really talk to them about it. I think it's so important, and we have done that many, many times. But again, it's a disease, and you need to work through that disease.
Well, and I think even as entrepreneurs and business executives, community leaders, you know, we can be as successful and profitable and have these huge, you know, profit margins and great success. But if we're not dealing with the stresses in our minds and the reality that we've created in our minds, you know, in a sense, because sometimes it's not matching up with other things, you know, it can be detrimental. And mental health is a real issue, and I think that stress and not dealing with things as really busy people and being pulled in so many different directions, we can, you know, and that is why it's been important for me to provide information on challenges in life and how do they make you stronger, and daydreaming your way to success was another article we did. But it's not. We did a leadership virtual webinar over the summer, and someone was on the call with us, and because it was more about you being the leader behind the business, taking care of you and getting your mind right in a sense to be able to deal with other people. But someone had made the comment that, I've not ever had a leadership call like this before, because it was more, it was deeper in a sense from a mental perspective on how to process and deal. But it's need to know stuff.
It is, and one of the things we have the Employee Assistance Program, EAP, which is so important. And if you see something going on, you really need to address it and be able to get that person the help that they need if they want the help. Now, there's times that people
you get there when you get there.
Yeah,
it goes
exactly.
Back to...
But we had a person in the company and they wanted the help, and so it really made a change for them to the positive, and they were so appreciative. So if you notice things, then you need to be really aware of those and
I would
be
imagine,
open up.
So often too, I would assume they would be afraid of losing their jobs, right?
Yes.
Or being then labeled as someone. So there's, I guess, sharing that or saying they need help is probably most difficult, I would assume.
And I think that if you have developed that trust with your associates, then they're going to feel.
And that's where that difference
It really is,
in,
because again, if you're arrogant and those types of things, they're not going to share. But if they know that they can trust you and that you have that care and integrity, and then yes, I believe that honesty and integrity are two of the most important things in any organization for both the associates and those that work with those associates. And if you have that mutual respect, then you're going to be very successful.
Well, and it flows out beyond just banking industry,
absolutely.
right? I mean, and it is, as we've evolved, I think, as, sharing stories, showing vulnerabilities, from a leadership perspective, and really talking more about that honesty and integrity. I mean, it's more, I guess, pushed, in the leadership roles, I would think, is
and the other thing
more
is
clear.
It is, because you can say you have a vision, you can say that you have core values, but if those core values do not come from the top down, they have no meaning. I mean, again, a market leader can share all day long that these are our core values. However, if they're not hearing those core values from the executive team, and then it's not the same. And
or seeing.
Seeing them.
Right.
That is such a great point. You have to see those. And what we do is when we have leadership meetings, we'll talk about the who really has done well. We give shout outs to people. We're always trying to communicate, and we have the President's Award that we do twice a year. Just different things that people know we care about them.
Recognizing, their commitment, and I think that's very important too. To keep a happy workplace.
Exactly.
So how have your employees, I guess, come through? How are things? Are many of them remote, or because you're banking? Are they? Or what is your ratio with people in the bank? And
we have probably 95% of our associates are in the bank.
Okay.
Yes, and we found that just being there really created more camaraderie. We did probably for 4 months had a number of our associates working remotely, but again, the camaraderie was not quite as strong, and we brought everyone back. Now, every morning you have your temperature checked, you're wearing a colored band that says that you've checked in and all of that, so that people know that you're safe. And the minute that we have an issue, then we will close that area down and have it chemically cleaned and then wait the time. And we've had to do that twice. But outside of that, we've been very fortunate with our people being healthy.
What as far as people coming into the bank, obviously being down where you close the inside, do you still see, this has been great for so many of us because it's pushed us into more of a digital age of things, right? And kind of getting uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, or getting comfortable with being uncomfortable in regards to handling some of those things. But what do you think?
Well, for us, we were a community bank anyway, and with that community bank, we did a lot of appointments and not people coming in. So it's still kind of the same model. But anyone that wants to come in, yes, they can do just that.
It kind of goes back to what we're talking about with organizations incorporating into the future some of what we've pivoted to do or transitioned.
And I'm probably like you. I've probably learned to do things online more than I had before, as far as ordering the things that we've needed. And now I'm going back, of course, into the grocery stores more. But there was a period of time there that was pretty much ordering online.
Yeah, it is. I feel like I've lived in a box for the last year. It does take a toll after a while. It's like, okay, it's been a year just about now. And we might have talked some, but I do have underlying health conditions, and so you do try to be careful. I joke, at 16 I spent time in a coma and had a lung disease and wasn't supposed to make it. So although the coma was a very unique experience, and not being it was horrifying, and that not being able to breathe and I mean literally rolling over would take me out. And so it is scary, but you can only live sheltered for so long, and not that you still have to be careful, but it is nice to be back in the studio and have some type of correspondence, or
Well, we had our executive forum, and of course we had to limit the number. Normally we have 150 people, but we actually had 75, and we have another one coming up in March the 2nd. And it was amazing how people wanted to get out. Now, we were very protected. The mask, we did boxed food, the drinks were bottled, and you opened them yourself. So we did take all the precautions, and your temperature was checked when you came into the facility. However, it was just amazing, Kelly. People were saying, "Oh yes, we want to get back out," and so we did it very safely.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm still worried, and okay, well, I'm going to be all over the place again, but I want to make sure, I want to touch on our second annual celebration of women. I'm really excited about, because that really ties into events. We're hopeful that we can have our magical launch celebration with us, and we will most definitely.
Right.
And I hope to have it right with the launch of the issue. But it worries me to have the responsibility, in a sense, where you bring these people together, and what if something did happen?
Right.
That I would worry that I was the cause of something. So.
Right. Well, what we've ended up saying is it's your choice.
Right.
And if you would like to come and join us, it's similar to what the Chamber has done. They do both virtual and they do in person some of their events.
It is great to get out around people. Though,
it is, and it's not anything that we say you have to do. It's even with our associates when we have events where we're, like we did, painting the basketball courts recently. If you'd like to be a part of it, we'd love for you to, but we don't require that right now. We want you to be and feel safe along those lines. So really excited about our second annual celebration of women. Hopefully by the time this airs, we will have announced all of the women included. We have 8 of the 10 confirmed, and 2 more we're just waiting to confirm. But even so the tribute issue was fun, and I even told my designers, I'm like, we'll do it as a Brady Bunch theme. I'm like, just think Brady Bunch. Let's put them in a box, and then we did the hashtag Together Apart, right? So it goes with the whole COVID theme, But the idea, Edge is built around personability. The idea of bringing everyone together is like the magic piece that I think I've said magic now 5 times, but it feels like that as things start to align and come together. But even coordinating the photo shoot, because you kind of have one idea of maybe how we're going to do it, and then, we do have a couple women that weren't comfortable doing the group shoot, so we're doing, we'll have to do something separate. Half of us, I think, will be at the group, so that's okay. And I understand, it's we all, it's. You can kind of superimpose them.
Right? Yeah, I'm not sure. I have some ideas, and as it changes, and I think that's just, we talked about that earlier as far as it's pivoting and transitioning. I might have one idea or one model, and then, it changes. Circumstances change, or something moves, and you just always have to be willing.
I loved that event that you did. I was year before last because we couldn't do it last year. It was just an amazing event with some great people.
Thank you. It's I think just about almost 400 people that
packed,
first.
Yeah.
It was just the
nice.
Quality of people there, the warmth that you feel, the like-minded people coming together, and it just true compassion. I believe you feel it in the air, and that's what we hope. We look to create every time we have an event. So
absolutely.
It's and we have a phenomenal list of women included, and we have promoted or celebrated the fact that Rita Lowman will be included in the second annual celebration, as well as Pam Iorio, our former mayor. So those names are already out there, so no big giveaways there. But
I appreciate that.
Really
I'm excited.
excited.
I am too. It was such an honor to see that. So thank you.
It is such an honor. I keep hitting the microphone. It's such an honor for me to be able to share your stories, and it's gotten to where sitting down and asking questions and finding out more, but then putting that into a very condensed, it's just. It means a lot to me, so I appreciate the opportunity to have you included.
Thank you for always. I mean, it's not just women. You highlight everyone. I mean, I love this issue here. These are some good friends of mine too, some of them, and I'm so proud of what they've done in their career.
Absolutely. Well, make sure you check out our tribute issue of Edge Business Magazine. We have great, phenomenal small business owners: Mit Patel, Ergen Tech, Kim Camacho, Triage Consignment, Dr. O'Neill for the dentistry. Actually, he's in St. Pete and South Tampa. Ashley Butler's amazing with Ice Cold Air and Butler Automotive. Mark Meisner with Body by Design, if you're looking for any type of virtual workouts even. I've worked out with Mark off and on for 11 years, 10 years, but he's on Davis Islands. Great. Michael Murphy with Michael Murphy Art Gallery, an iconic figure in our community on MacDill. And this amazing young guy Jared with Everything Outdoors. I actually didn't do too bad.
That was great.
No wonder I can't think of some things as I talk. I have too much.
No,
3 a.m. I'm like, would you stop already? Okay, and we'll have to talk about that. But I'll go back to that in a second. But just great stories, and in fact, it was interesting. Someone had made the comment to me because we were talking about her story, and as she was reading it, she said, "I didn't realize other people had the same problems." I'm like, well, of course they do.
Right.
We all do, and our, may not be exactly, dealing with the same things, but yes, we're all going through something. We all have setbacks. We all have our trials and tribulations, to get us where we need to go. So, but that's great to hear, even, that they're able to learn from one another. Okay, going back to that off switch. The farm, is that your off switch?
Oh yeah, the farm's my off switch. So as you know, we have a couple of hundred acres and we keep about 80 head of cattle in Georgia. And absolutely when I go up, now this last time I was there, I was working remotely, which I do, but then, come Friday afternoon, I can spend Friday afternoon, you saw we did a fire and just had fun and cooked out, and then we're building a new lake and it's just great. We drained the other one and Gary's enlarged it. So that's what I do, and you'll see me out with the cows. I can go out, I can feed the cows, I can carry a 50-pound bag of feed, and actually I put it on the four-wheeler, but
Yeah. So you don't really carry it.
I know, I don't really carry it, but it's just fun, and I love doing that. I think it's so important. But one of the things that you just said that I would want to mention, I've always shared with my associates, if anybody tells you that they do not, everything's perfect in their life, they're not telling you the truth. Because we all have something that we're battling, and we need to be compassionate and understand that with the people that we're around. And so again, when I go to the farm, I can put that into the back of my mind and just really enjoy and relax and look at those beautiful head of cattle and look at the things that are around and say, thank you so much. I'm truly blessed. Things have happened in my life that I would like to not have happened. However, overall, we've had a blessed life.
And I guess you have to come to some type of comfort, knowing that things happen as they're supposed to, and not necessarily why did things happen to me? Why you kind of look at them as they happen for you in a sense, for whatever, and it's tough when you're dealing with hardships and tragedy in a sense, and realizing that somehow you'll overcome this, or you'll be okay. And it's so hard to see in the moment of things. And
well, one of the fun things is that Clint, prior to him passing away, he shared, Tom Brady's coming to the Bucs. And we said, yeah, right, Clint. He said, no, they really are, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. So we have been, we have loved that, because we've said he's been right there the whole time because he loved the Bucs and he loved Tom Brady.
Off switch. So for those of us, that do not have a farm yet, where we can to go, what advice? Again, we talked about the importance of faith and family, and the importance of I guess enjoying the journey, and realizing the importance of every moment, because we really don't know how long, we never know. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. What advice do you give to your team on family and yoga, working out, doing something?
What I do share with them is that make sure you don't miss any major event that your children have. I think that's really important. The other thing is, I love the outdoors, so take a hike with your family, go on a picnic, do those simple things. They don't have to be anything that's costing a lot of money, but do that and let them know that this is a fun activity that we can do together. The other thing I enjoy doing is making sure that education's a part of it. And we really didn't get into that a whole lot today, but read. It's always good to share something, whether it be audible or on your way to work, or having your kids do the very same thing. So again, a number of different ways, Kelly.
What about a favorite book, Rita? Do you have a favorite book?
Well, I do. I have a number of favorite books, and of course, many people know that I love Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. I just think that's such a great business book along those lines.
And why did that resonate with you so much?
Because again, in the environment is if you want to meet someone, and then you get to know know that person who knows that person you want to meet, and the three of you get together. And I started doing that in 2002, bringing women together, and it's really worked out well to me. But of course, Kelly, my favorite book is my own book, as I've told you before.
Of course,
From the farm to the boardroom. And so let me just share that so everybody knows.
Absolutely, and it's available on Amazon, right?
It is.
Yep.
It's a very easy read, but it
From
just
the farm to the boardroom.
Yeah, it just tells a little bit about me.
And how many years ago now did you?
About 4 years ago, and it still sells. I still receive those royalty checks every quarter.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
Well, so what's in the future for Rita Lowman?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm still enjoying banking and what I'm doing, but I will be writing another book more on the mental health aspect from a parent's point of view, and that'll be coming out. Probably it'll take me about a year to get everything from the start to the finish, because I have all of my notes, but to put it into a thought process. So I'm looking forward to 2022 when that can come out. I think parents have to share, and I really want to continue to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. What, you know, I think I've probably asked you this question before, but you know, we talk about the definition of success. What is your definition of success today?
Success to me is knowing that other people around me have had the really care and success that they want, and that's been really important to see other people grow.
Yeah.
It's not about me, it's about others.
Yeah, and it really is, and that just goes back to your caring heart. And,
Thank you.
And you know, what sort of impact do you look forward to having, you know, over the years,
Right.
even more so in the community?
I want to continue to do my work as it relates to philanthropy. I think that's very important. Gary and I give quite a bit back to the community.
So
and we'll
politics
continue
in the future?
People keep asking me that.
I can see why.
I am asked that quite a bit, and we've not made a decision at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, again, I'm honored to sit, you know, here with you and have the opportunity to have the conversations that we do. You know, it is. You enlighten, I think, so many and inspire us that we can do and give back and pay it forward. And thank you, because again, it's women like you that have paved the way for other women, you know, to come through. And you know, it's just, I'm so fortunate to have so many great women around, but just so, you know, so many of sacrifices that so many people have made over the years. So thank you.
I appreciate it. It's been great. I've enjoyed it.
Well, it'll be great to share your story as we get you involved with the first or second annual celebration of women. It's great to say second anything, right?
Absolutely.
Second, third, fourth. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your partnership with Edge, and I look forward to seeing you more this year as we get out. So,
thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Again, check out edgemediahub.com. You can subscribe to the magazine. You can keep up to date. We have our promotional event calendar for 2021. And I'll tell you, talk about all the 3 issues coming up, our different shows. We've got a great lineup. Actually, we're booked with our Getting the Edges through April. So stay tuned, and we look forward to seeing you soon. So until next time, never stop dreaming. Thank you.